Hey everyone, welcome back to our React series. Today we are diving into a super important topic, React error boundaries. Have you ever had your entire React app crash because of a small error in one component? Well, that's where error boundaries come to save the day. By the end of this video, you will know what error boundaries are, how to create them, how to use them effectively, and what best practice to follow. So let's get started. First, what exactly are error boundaries? Error boundaries are special React components that catch error in their child component during rendering, like a lifecycles method or event handlers. Instead of breaking the entire application, they display a fallback UI. Now look at some key features like catch errors in rendering, a lifecycle method and constructor of child component, and display a fallback UI when an error occurs, prevent the app from completely crashing, and log error for debugging and monitoring. So in simple words, they act like a try catch block but for React components. Let's now create an error boundary from scratch. Error boundaries must be class component because they use full lifecycle method like static get drive state from error. Here in this updates state when an error occurs. And second one is a component did patch error info. It's a log error details. Now here the code for an error boundary component. Now you can see here we use a import, and here we use a component from React, and here we have a class like class error boundary extend component. Now here we use a constructor like props, and here we use a super props, and here we use a this dot state, and here we gave a has error false. Now here we have a static get drive state from error. Now here we return a has error true. Now here we have a component did catch error info, and here we use a console dot error caused by error boundary, and here we gave a error, and here we gave a error information. Now here we render if this dot state has error, so return has something went wrong, please try again later. And here we return this dot props dot children. Now here we export default error boundary. Now we copy this code here, and here we create a error torches. Here we use error boundary. We save this. Now we create a error boundary here. Now we use an error boundary in an application wrapping component with error boundaries. Now we copy this code like here. Now we use this code in our app.js. Now we copy this code, and here we have a app.js. Here we use a use state. Now here we use a buggy component, and here we use a function app. Now we save this. You can see here we have a click 0, click 1 2 3 4. Now you can see it's give us something went wrong, please try again later. So key takes away: use error boundaries for render related errors, use try catch inside event handlers or async functions. Now here is the multiple error boundaries for better isolations, and here we using a multiple error boundaries. Now you can see we have a function app, and here we gave a error boundary like component A, component B. Now we copy this code here, we use this, we save this. Now we have a error boundary like component A and component B. So you can see we have an error compiled with component A is not defined and component B is defined. Then the login errors to a monitoring service. Here we use a example like login errors to an API. Here we use a component did catch error info, and here we fetch a your login api.com errors. Here we use a post method, and here we have a header content time, and here we use a application JS, and here we have a JSON stringify error to string. Now here is the example like this sends error details to a login service like sanitary, log rocket, or a firebase for better debugging. So here is the best practice: wrap critical components to prevent full app crashes, use multiple boundaries to isolate errors, provide meaningful fallback UI to improve UX, log errors for debugging and monitoring. Don't use error boundaries inside event handlers, use try catch instead. And that's a wrap. Error boundaries are an essential tool for making your React app more robust and user friendly. If you have any question, feel free to ask in the comment. Keep smiling and happy coding. Thank you.